Our Vice President team continues traveling the world. This time we have arrived in Azerbaijan's capital, Baku, for the second time this year. The city hosts the UN's climate change conference, COP29. The agenda will include broad discussions on the issues related to the climate change, the topic of the urgent significance in Central Asia. The President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, will join the conference as one of the keynote speakers. We're here to follow its agenda very closely to keep you informed. So let's get started. We are at COP29 venue in Baku this year, held under the theme of In Solidarity with the Green World. COP29 sets ambitious goals for its agenda. Climate financing is among top priorities of the conference. The platform gathered approximately 70,000 delegates, including the leaders of countries who will take part in the World Leaders Climate Action Summit later today. We're here to provide you with all important information. COP, which stands for Conference of Parties, is a diverse platform where governments assess global efforts to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement, limiting global warming to 1.5 Celsius, as well as to negotiate the best ways of addressing climate change. Climate Conference in Baku raises an important issue of climate financing, pushing the climate agenda up to the front of the global political discussions. With challenges the world is facing today, environmental issues become even more serious, and the consequences of climate change are dreadful. There are 198 parties, including 197 countries in the EU to the convention. Kazakhstan is one of the active participants of the UN's global dialogue.
President Tokayev has announced Kazakhstan's joining Global Methane Pledge last year, and in the last year we have been working very actively with our partners on measurements and improving the reporting on methane, on regulations, on implementation of concrete projects. As you know, Kazakhstan, we have reduced our methane, our gas flaring and flaring intensity by 70% in the last decade.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev arrives at the airport of Baku. He's one of the honored guests of the summit. The head of state will join other leaders of countries to address important climate issues. Kazakhstan has a lot to share. The country is in the midst of the energy transition. Kazakhstan's global pledge is to become carbon neutral by 2060.
We're making a big contribution to the climate agenda by implementing national strategic documents, such as the Strategy for Achieving Carbon Neutrality. Today we're developing a national program to reduce methane. Here we participate in general discussions on topical issues on the agenda. And one of the main issues is climate finance, where we have our own position.
So the COP29 in Baku goes on. Now we are in the hall where the plenary session with participation of the leaders of countries will take place very, very soon. You can see this sign, Kazakhstan, and this means that the President, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, will be sitting here. You can see a little notebook with the pen. So everything is set for the leader to take part in this plenary session. It's also expected that the President Tokayev will deliver his speech mentioning the achievements of Kazakhstan in proceeding and meeting the goals of climate agenda and the Paris Agreement. Now, President Tokayev is in the hall. He uses a couple of minutes to prepare. Some other participants, meanwhile, seize the momentum to talk directly to the president. He generously engages in a small conversation.
today in this political cycle.
Now the plenary session finally begins. The leaders of countries are expected to deliver their national statements.
It is my pleasure to welcome His Excellency Mr. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, President of Kazakhstan. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Now you can see the President of Kazakhstan is approaching the panel to deliver his speech. His opening remarks are very important as he speaks the first among other leaders of countries who have gathered here at this hall now. The climate financing is one of the priorities of the discussions at COP29, and it is expected that Kassym-Jomart Tokayev will address this issue too in his speech, among other important topics related to the climate change agenda. In his speech, the head of state introduces so-called carbon farming, mentioning that vast territories of Kazakhstan can be an ideal platform for sustainable agriculture. He also touches upon the problem of water resources in the world, and particularly in Central Asia.
We were not spared this year's suffering from unprecedented floods. So we respond and recover from future natural disasters, and we will introduce comprehensive disaster risk management system. This December, we are partnering with France to host the One Water Summit to drive the momentum on water agenda. This summit will address issues in global water governance. The Caspian Sea is in danger. Saving the biggest lake in the world is a matter of common concern that requires long-term international cooperation.
Now, in that particular room, there is a very important meeting which President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev is holding with his Turkish counterpart, President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The issues related to the bilateral cooperation are on the table of discussions right now. And while the leaders are discussing important issues of bilateral agenda, the protocol service of the president is getting ready for the next meetings, where the head of state will take part. This is the work which is invisible to the public eye, but is indeed very responsible. The Kazakh president continues holding bilateral meetings with his counterparts, this time with the president of North Macedonia. Gordana Sijanovska-Davkova during the meeting emphasized the potential for further strengthening of interaction, as well as praises Kazakhstan's role in the global arena as a middle power. We had a chance to address our questions to the president. How was the meeting with President Tokayev? What was discussed?
The meeting was friendly, inspiring. Yes, really, sometimes we do not know so much about each other, but globalization made the distance very problematic. Kazakhstan is pioneering in many, especially economic projects, and indeed I invited the president to visit Skopje.
Oh, that was
yes,
great news.
And also he invited me. Yes, we are a small country, but with many opportunities for those which are well known in economy, so we could cooperate in infrastructure, in energy projects, in tourism.
So are you happy with the results of negotiations?
Very happy.
The famous Almaty port, camel milk, and souvenir production made of recycled materials. All these elements are the part of the Kazakhstan's national pavilion at the COP29 in Baku. All that elements were designed specifically with the concept of ethno-minimalism in mind. The exhibition creates a comfortable and functional environment for all delegates and participants of the conference, combining tradition, modern technology, and innovations. The venue has become a platform for signing important agreements with Kazakhstan's international partners in implementing large green infrastructure projects in the country. The most significant one is the $1.1 billion deal with the Islamic Development Bank.
Основная цель этих соглашений – это финансирование.
The main purpose of these agreements is to finance the infrastructure of our country's water sector. This includes both conservation of natural resources and disaster management. It will also allow us to build more than 3,500 new canals in the country, in about 9 regions of the country in the next 3 years. In addition to irrigation canal system, we will also build and reconstruct 9 new reservoirs.
Kazakh Ministry of Energy also signs a series of agreements. One is with its Chinese counterparts. We have asked about the details from the Kazakh Ministry of Energy himself.
Сегодня с энергетической администрацией Китайской Народной Республики подписан.
Today, with the Energy Administration of the People's Republic of China, we signed a program document which provides an opportunity for direct investments of Chinese energy-producing companies in the Republic of Kazakhstan, which covers the widest range of issues: the construction of renewable energy facilities, construction of energy infrastructure facilities, localization of production in Kazakhstan, the creation of new jobs. Within the framework of this project, 4 promising renewable energy projects have already been identified, which will be integrated into the national electric grid and will be equipped with electric energy storage systems.
Green investments are very important. Kazakhstan is championing in its efforts to attract investments, including in the projects needed for a green transition. Islamic Development Bank has become one of the major investors into the Kazakh economy. The country has been able to secure the largest amount of investment of this financial institution.
Kazakhstan is a large country, is a very important member of the family of the Islamic Development Bank, and we want to be part of the economic development of Kazakhstan. This project, you are correct, is the largest financing we have made at the Islamic Development Bank. Why? Well, because one, we see that this is very pivotal for the economic development of Kazakhstan. Climate resilience, agricultural development, water conservation, all of these are very important for Kazakhstan. We're going to rehabilitate more than 4,800 kilometers of irrigation canals. So just imagine how many farmers and how many villages and towns will benefit from that. This is the essence of development.
The second day of the summit, we keep following its agenda very closely.
This is one of the most relevant moments of the COP29 conference in Baku. You can see the presidents of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan sitting together, and they are negotiating a very important deal on interconnecting energy systems of 3 countries. Soon the presidents will sign the intergovernmental agreement. Now, as you can see, the ceremony with participation of the 3 presidents, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan, is on.
The head of state notes that the signing of the strategic partnership agreement will enable rapid development of Central Asia and the South Caucasus, also opening up new opportunities for reliable corridors for the supply of the clean energy to the global markets. President Tokayev firmly states green energy is a priority for Kazakhstan.
We're actively working on reducing dependence on fossil resources, developing technological innovations and creating infrastructure capable of supporting our environmental sustainability. Kazakhstan has reached agreements with foreign partners on the implementation of green projects with a total capacity of 43 gigawatts.
Этот проект соединяет энергетические системы Азербайджана с центральной.
These projects connect Azerbaijan's energy systems with Central Asia. Today we're laying the foundation together. Our esteemed presidents have signed a very important intergovernmental agreement on the creation of an energy bridge between Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. I think that these projects will serve the transmission of energy from Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan to Azerbaijan, and it will support and serve to strengthen our energy systems. It will also create an opportunity for us to use our vast energy resources to maintain energy security in the whole region.
The final stop in the President's program is the National Pavilion of Kazakhstan. The exhibition, which demonstrates the culture, innovations and environmental projects of the country, was presented to the head of state. The stand introduces all the visitors with Kazakhstan's biodiversity and its efforts to reintroduce rare and endangered species like Przhevalsky's horse, saigas and snow leopards. The president was surrounded by the attention of the visitors, also kindly accepting requests for the joint photos. One of the projects which was presented to the head of state is the ambitious green hydrogen project, which is about to be built in Mangistau region of Kazakhstan. Its ultimate goal is to produce clean energy out of hydrogen, which will be processed in industrial facilities. Ainur Tumisheva, who represents the team of the project in Kazakhstan, explains its vital importance for Kazakhstan.
In the green energy agenda and transition agenda, Kazakhstan has very ambitious goals to reach net zero by 2060, decarbonize the national grid by 15% by 2030. Very ambitious goals. And currently what Kazakhstan has been doing is a lot of renewable energy projects. That is to decarbonize the grid. But when it comes to decarbonization process of the industrial private sector of Kazakhstan, you definitely need energy carriers, which is hydrogen or its derivatives. In our case, it's ammonia, green hydrogen and green ammonia. And that is the basis for all of the oil refineries that they use. That is the basis that produces fertilizers for the agricultural sector. That is the basis that is used for metallurgy. That is the use for seeking out the gold when you mine it. Yeah? So all of the processes have hydrogen or ammonia in their basis. So if we plan as Kazakhstan to decarbonize our industrial sector, then we definitely need to incorporate this.
Kazakhstan, which has set an ambitious goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060, is definitely moving in the right direction, gaining in access to sustainable financing and securing cooperation with its global partners. That's it for today. See you next time.